Mark chapter 5 includes a remarkable story. It's a story about a man who's called in most Bibles the Gerasene demoniac. That's referring to the place where he lived and his spiritual condition. He was a man who was, we're told, possessed by many demons. He's clearly mentally, spiritually, emotionally not well. But at an even deeper level, part of what we see happening in Mark chapter 5 is Jesus totally blowing up, if you will, the purity system or the purity aspect of the Jewish faith tradition. Again, the tradition that he was a part of and grew up in, where you didn't go near pigs, you didn't go near cemeteries, you didn't go near tombs, you don't go where things are unclean. And yet here we have Jesus with all these unclean aspects. He's talking to a man with an unclean spirit who's living among the tombs, and he's also near pigs. And so Jesus is just kind of saying, all this stuff that you're really worried about, it's not nearly as important as caring for people. And so we have this remarkable exchange where Jesus even ends up answering the prayers of unclean spirits, which is an interesting thing to think about, because when Jesus cast the spirits out of the man, they asked to be sent into the swine instead, and Jesus answers that prayer. Then you have this terrible scene where the pigs run down the hill and into the water, and the owners of the swine are really angry and frightened and upset. Here's their whole livelihood that's gone. And you might ask, well, why did this have to happen? And maybe it was because Jesus knew the man who was possessed by these evil spirits needed some visual representation to know that he was free and that these spirits were gone. And the owners of the swine beg Jesus to leave their neighborhood. They don't know who he is, but they know something really unusual has happened. And the man who was healed begs Jesus to be able to stay with him. He wants to stay with him and be a disciple. But Jesus refused. And in our verse for the day, it says, "Go home to your friends and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and what mercy he has shown you." Now, if you think back to the Easter sermon from a couple days ago, which was about believing and sharing the good news, the same thing that the women are told at the empty tomb, go and tell, that's what Jesus says to the Gerasene demoniac as well. Rather than coming with Jesus, he is to go back to where he was from and tell other people what the Lord has done for him. Interestingly, in all the New Testament, most of the time when somebody comes to faith, we hear them become invited to be a part of the church, or they're part of a faith community or a household church. This man gets commissioned as a missionary to go and tell what the Lord has done for him. Who have you told recently about what the Lord has done for you? It's really a fundamental part of our being a follower of Jesus, is we tell our story of how Jesus has touched and changed our life.